farmers.
The committee will come to order. Will Commissioner, staff, and guests please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Limited public comment. At this time, any member of the public wishing to address the committee may do so for up to 3 minutes.
I'm Fred Jacobs, and joining me today is chairperson of our group, Denny Quam from the Viking Corporation. We represent a group that was originally called the Barry County Health Coalition, which turned into what we call today the Manufacturers Roundtable. We got started back in 2002 when we received a letter from Pennock Hospital saying that they weren't going to cooperate with one of our insurance contracts. So I called a meeting with all the local leaders to talk about it, and we sat down with Pennock Hospital and we resolved the issue. That original group was Jada Graphics, Viking, FlexFab, and Flexible Horizons, the Titan Group, Hastings Fiberglass, Hastings Manufacturing, Viatech, Hastings Aluminum, Hastings City Bank, Trichlor, Barry County Lumber, Valposh Foods, Main Street Savings Bank, Hastings Mutual Insurance, and the Barry County Chamber on Economic Development. And also Michael Brown served on that committee because of the health care cost. Over the years, we dealt with a number of issues such as occupational medicine, prescription drug plans, workers' compensation, legislative issues, and family medical leave. And we also had a healthy lifestyle program such as dealing with smoking, obesity, and drug abuse. We were also instrumental in getting Pennock Hospital to separate the urgent care and occupational medicine from the hospital and move it down on State Street. In 2005, we held a symposium on health management featuring nationally known Dee Eddington of the University of Michigan to help us manage our health care issues and a strategy for better outcomes. We also hired a consultant, Don Wormy, who was also an executive director for the Kalamazoo Health Coalition, to run our meetings and research issues as they came up. And even though the list of members has changed, we continue to meet regularly and talk about issues. The issue here today is about housing. Housing is a huge problem. The Barry County Foundation, the Economic Development, has been working on it and spending a lot of money on trying to solve some of these housing issues. And we need leaders to step up, government leaders to step up. There was 3 projects in Barry County recently, one in Nashville, one in Hastings, and one in Middleville. All 3 of those were found difficulty, and all of them had to do with government difficulty. It wasn't investors, it wasn't the need for the housing, it was government held them up. You know, hopefully one or all 3 of those will go. Every one of us on this committee has a problem with housing. I have 3 new reporters, and they all live outside of Barry County because they can't find housing. And every company in Barry County is having that same problem. Housing is a big issue. Last year, Dave Tasova gave a book to all his council members. It's called The 13 Ways to Kill Our Community. One of the biggest issues in there is government intervention in housing, where they can't cooperate with developers. In Middleville, that developer went twice to the village council, and he came back the second time with everything changed as they wanted to, and they turned him down again. In Nashville, I went to the village council meeting because there was 2 residents in that area that were holding it up. That was crazy. That development, if it goes in Nashville, will change the whole the landscape of that community. It'll attract other developers. The same thing is happening in Hastings right now. We lost the project over in the Royal Coach, but we've reassigned that to the street, to right across the street, in a piece of property that's been sitting there for 15 years that needs to be developed. And we have a developer. We just need your cooperation. I'd like to turn it over to Denny now.
Good morning. My name is Denny Quam, and 17 years ago, Tom Gross hired me as the Vice President of Human Resources to lead the Viking Corporation. And Tom's mission was to grow Viking to be a dominant player in our industry. Today, we have 1,300 employees, and we have 350 people here in Hastings. We've seen considerable growth, and what I'm here today to talk to you about is that we have a serious need here in the Hastings community, and that deals with housing, okay? We're to a point where we can't grow here because of the fact that we don't have single-family dwelling establishments, we don't have multifamily. Most importantly, we don't have a need for the apartments for our people to live in. To illustrate that issue, of the 360 people that we have today, 45% of our people do not have a Hastings address. Okay, that's roughly, if you do the math, that's roughly 160 people that live outside of the Hastings community. If I'm recruiting co-ops, engineers, executives, there's no place for them to live here. Now, we just recently negotiated a new contract, 3-year agreement with the union. It's not an issue of pay. Right now, we're starting second and third shift people off at $19 an hour and probably have some of the best benefits in the community. But if you can't find people, okay, because of the housing, then we're not going to grow here. 3 years ago, we built a brand new corporate center up in Caledonia, in part because we couldn't get the people who couldn't find the housing here. Okay. I'm still looking for 15 to 20 people here in Hastings. And talking to Hastings Manufacturing, they're looking for people. FlexFab's looking for people. But this is a serious problem that I would hope all of you in the Hastings community would realize. You can't drive from here to Grand Rapids and not see some business and development that's going on. And I'm speaking on behalf of all the manufacturers. We need your help, okay? Because, I mean, you have a choice. Either Hastings grows and flourishes, or we basically just sit here and survive. And that's the choice. And I would leave you with this one question. How many new companies are currently in discussions with the city of Hastings, 50 employees or more, that are looking to build here in this community? Now listen, in some ways I don't want the competition, but I would think that the city of Hastings does. And I think that you know the answer to that question is that there's probably not any that are looking to relocate here. Okay?
Thank you,
Thank
gentlemen.
you.
Would like to talk about this issue during commissioner comments. Is there further public comment? Hearing none, we'll move ahead.
Before we move ahead, I'd like to request that we add an item to the agenda. It's a standard agenda item that we have done several times, and this is to recommend the Board of Commissioners approval of a 270 grant for $10,000 for the animal shelter to continue the TNR project. We would normally have it on the regular cow cycle. We missed it by a day, but it is time sensitive where it needs to be completed by the end of next week. So I don't know if we need a motion to add that to the agenda. Like I said, it's a standard agenda request. So
If there's no objection, we will add it under after reappointments to the County Officers Compensation Commission. Hearing no objection, the item is added. Next, Jim Yarger. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to transfer the 2008 Ford Expedition VIN number ending in 62103 from the Emergency Management Department to the Sheriff's Office Marine Division.
So moved.
support.
That motion is made by Smelker, supported by Gibson. Discussion. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Basically, my department replaced the vehicle. That vehicle has half the mileage as some of the vehicles that they're currently towing their boats with. So we're asking to transfer that vehicle from my department over to the sheriff's department so the Marine Division can use it.
Okay. Do you have anything to add?
Nope, just that it would be a nice, useful tool for us.
It's everybody's dream to have a 2008 Ford Expedition with 150,000 miles, so.
FBI black, everything.
Oh, it has 95,000. Oh, it's a deal. Okay.
Far less than our
Yeah.
other towns.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, the question before the board is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to transfer the 2008 Ford Expedition VIN number ending in 62103 from the Emergency Management Department to the Sheriff's Office Marine Division. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Yep.
At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the 2022 L4029 tax rate request for the levy of winter property taxes to be signed by the chairperson. Anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion, Jackson.
Support, Getty.
That motion is made by Jackson, support by Getty. Discussion. Good morning, Mashaya.
Good morning. Happy
So-
fall.
Happy fall. It is fall, isn't it? So what do we have here?
Okay, so this is just the L4029 form. We approved one earlier this summer for the summer levy, and this will allow us to levy the remaining millages this winter. So this just needs to be approved by you guys, and then it'll be dispersed to the local treasurers of each unit.
Any discussion? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend approval of the 2022 L4029 tax rate request for the levy of winter property taxes to be signed by the chairperson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a request from the planning department. At this time, the chair to entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of farmland and open space preservation, also known as PA 116, applications 22-4 through 22-5 for Mr. Norm Hammond in Section 17 of Johnstown Township.
Second.
That motion is made by Gibson, supported by Connor. Discussion. Good morning, Jack.
Good morning. As you can tell, I'm not Jim McManus. He had a family emergency, so he asked me to fill in. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here, other than he said that the Planning Commission recommends the approval of PA 116 request for Mr. Norman Hammond and PA 116 request for DeYoung Farmland LLC.
So this is a standard procedure.
It is a standard procedure, yes it is.
Yep.
Yep.
We know the drill here. Is there any discussion or any comments from our planning commissioners?
They were pretty straightforward. And both of them have other ones. It was like I said, pretty straightforward.
Great. Any discussion?
In the minutes, they both passed unanimously, right?
Yes.
Hearing no further discussion, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of farmland and open space preservation, also known as PA 116, applications 22-4 through 22-5 for Mr. Norm Hammond in Section 17 of Johnstown Township. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Wish all my job was this easy.
I think we got one more.
We got one more.
Oh, I gotta do one more. Oh.
You do have to do one more. This time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the farmland and open space preservation, also known as PA 116, application 22-6 for DeYoung Farmland LLC in Section 19 of Orangeville Township.
Motion made.
Support, Jackson.
The motion is made by Connor, supported by Jackson. Discussion? Is this
Same.
former Commissioner DeYoung?
He's part of it.
He's part of it? Okay, so there's several
Unless there's another, as far as I know, it's him.
Yep, Dennis, Jim, and Joel. Any discussion? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the farmland and open space preservation, also known as PA 116, application 22-6 for DeYoung Farmland LLC in Section 19 of Orangeville Township. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Now I'm done.
Now you're done. All right, next we have transfer of a canine. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to retire K-9 Grizzly and to transfer ownership of Grizzly from the Berry County Sheriff's Office to Deputy Travis Moore.
Yes, Under Sheriff Jason Sixbury.
Hold on just a second. That motion is made by Gibson. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Smelker. Discussion. Good morning, Under Sheriff.
Good morning. And that is the request that the Sheriff's Office is requesting approval to retire K-9 Grizzly and transfer the ownership to Grizzly from the Berry County Sheriff's Office to Deputy Travis Moore. And we also, I believe you probably received the sale of animal and waiver liability agreement here. Obviously, we're trying to transfer that so we don't have to pay for it any longer. And this is what we've done in the past, to my understanding, for all the other canines. Once we retire them, transfer it to the canine handler, which also now Travis has the new dog, Jesse, which is being implemented, so.
Okay, so what's the normal service tenure for a K-9 in the sheriff's office?
I believe 6 to 8 years on the average.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How old is Grizzly? How old is Grizzly?
I don't have
How long has he been in service, do you know?
I believe about approximately 7 years.
Yeah, I remember when he was brought up.
We have Jesse already, and he's been training with Jesse and everything, which was with the private donation to receive Jesse, to pay for Jesse to come across from Europe.
Does he get a pension?
Negative.
What'd you say?
Negative.
Negative.
But he's been a good boy.
He's been a very good dog, yes.
Yes. Any other discussion? Hearing none, the question before the committee is to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval to retire K-9 Grizzly and to transfer ownership of Grizzly from the Berry County Sheriff's Office to Deputy Travis Moore. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thou art retired, Grizzly.
I take it that Grizzly was on the hybrid, not the B4.
Congratulations.
They were asking how many years, and I said approximately 7 years, but I wasn't sure.
6.5, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 8 years old. 8.
He's been involved in a lot of stuff.
Yes, yes, he has.
Instrumental in a lot of things.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you for
Sitting on the couch
your
right
service
now.
and taking care of him. All right. Next, at this time, the chair would entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners ratification of the chairperson's reappointment of Terry Enrietti and Steve Bueller to the Berry County Officers Compensation Commission for 4-year terms that began on October 1st, 2022. That begin on October 1st, 2022 and expire on September 30th, 2026.
Make that motion. Support.
Motion is made by Connor, supported by Getty. Discussion. The Berry County Compensation Commission has been one of our most effective boards that we've created over the last few years. It's worked very well. We have a diverse group of experts that sit on it, and I'm very pleased with how they've worked together. In Terry Enrietti and Steve Bueller are very important in keeping that working well. Any other discussion? You have anything to say, Terry? All right, hearing no other discussion, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, I'll recognize Commissioner Jackson to make a motion.
I make a motion to recommend to the Board of Commissioners approval of the attached reimbursement grant agreement in the amount of $10,000 with 270, Inc. to pay for spay, neuter, feral, and barn cats in Berry County and authorize the board chairperson to sign it.
Support.
That motion is made by Jackson, supported by Smelker. Discussion. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. Hello, hello. Yeah, so I appreciate you seeing me today. This is a real time-sensitive item. It came in on 11:51 on a Thursday, and I sent it up at 1:51, and I was already late. So What the nice part of this grant, this next $10,000 from 270 is, I've got $4,000 that's going to get me through to the 1st of November. This picks up on the 1st of November, and that should get me through until the spring. And it'll give me an opportunity to get more grants going forward, starting, I'm trying not to have a break in this TNR cycle. So this gives me an opportunity to do that. And they gave me another grant for $20,000, which I don't have to turn in just yet, so I'll be working on that as well, so.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
It's doing a lot of good work in the community.
I appreciate that.
Discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay.
Limited public comment at this time, and member of the public wishing to address the committee may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Jim Henrietti. I'm from Barry Township, Barry County. Over the past several years, many of us residents have been affected by high water. It's a natural thing. It's cyclical. Right now, there is a situation whereby an attempt is being made to study and establish a lake level for Pleasant Lake. I speak for ourselves. Even though we are some 20 feet above water level, if we go underwater, all of Delton is underwater also. However, we have been severely impacted by erosion. Shore on the west side goes down at a quite steep angle, and we have trees that have fallen, as many other property owners have also. What I'm saying is the only logical fix would be to remove the dams that have been created when county roads have been built years and years ago on Floria and on Orchard. While it's a logical fix, it's not practical. And I go to Otsego Lake up near Gaylord, where a friend of ours lives, and they wanted to develop one end of the lake. A study was done, and they were told, no, you can't build just a ramp across it. You can't put a dam, but you can build a bridge. If you've ever traveled Highway 10 on the Gulf Coast, Alabama, Florida, getting over to Louisiana, you'll see mile after mile after mile after mile of not fill, but bridges. So the proposal now is to do an expensive fix, and including a $10,000 engineering study. Some engineer is going to come in and look at this, and he might have had a course in Engineering 101. But people who have lived on this lake for 30 and 40 years and 50 years can remember when it was much lower. We can also remember when it was much higher than it is today. What I'm saying is, when that petition does come, you'll find many, many people supporting, we don't want a lake level established. Let's let nature take its course, because when we fix one thing in this whole ecosystem, we affect another. You cannot dam one place up and not have it affect someplace else. You can't open up one place and have it not affect someplace else. Right now, the lake levels are going down. Most people are happy, except for those who have built on extremely, extremely low land. The only fix there is to build the land up. What I'm saying is, please proceed cautiously with this thing. Let's not saddle us with another $50,000 or $100,000 in debt to establish a lake level that nature alone can establish. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there further public comment? Hearing none. Commissioner comments. Where are we in the negotiation with the developers for the front of the court parking lot area?
we had a conference call, General Capital,
Yep.
and basically let them know that we felt there was a long way to go in the process. And as Dave Hatfield pointed out with the City of Hastings Planning and Zoning, that it's really in the City of Hastings court right now to
Okay.
handle all of that going forward. But we wanted to let General Capital know that we're not going to be standing in their way to complete the project. That there is a desire to retain the front of the court building. We've had some interest since it's got some publicity to retain that building, and people have asked to put, potentially us looking at, filling those vacancies. There are some ideas that we've been discussing. But we wanted General Capital to know that we're here to work with them, that we're going to be as flexible as possible in being sure the project goes through. We're not going to stand in the way.
Perfect.
But with that said, there's a long way to go in the process with the City of Hastings to make that through. And the City of Hastings really has the heavy lifting to do in this case, not the County Commission at this point.
Okay.
So.
Good to know. John, you have anything to add? Or Bruce?
No, I was in on that meeting too, and that's exactly what was brought about. And I also, with the understanding, it didn't make any difference what we done. The building was going up anyway.
That's what we were
But we
told.
want to work with them as much as we can,
Yeah.
yes.
Great.
And the other thing is that it'll be on the next cow cycle, is that it was a delay on my part in getting it to Michael, but we had talked about expanding that ad hoc committee's direction or charge as far as being able to evaluate other county facilities, to potentially move forward with evaluating things like the building out at
Algonquin?
Algonquin Lake. And
That'll
some
be
other
at
things.
on the next cow?
Next cow.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other comments?
I guess you said it all, fellas. I think we need to do everything possible to make this project go, whatever input we can have to make it successful and still maintain a relationship with our constituents that's favorable. Then we really need the housing. There's just no doubt about it. And I don't want to be the one that stands in the way of it.
Thank you. Any other commissioner comments?
I do.
Commissioner Connor?
Thank you.
I don't think, is your mic on?
Yeah, I've got a little bit of an allergy issue today. I'll speak up. There we go. So, my family grew up in Lansing, so I got lots of relatives there. And back in the day when Lansing didn't go further than the Lansing Mall. But, I mean, cities do grow if they want to survive. And, I mean, usually it's on the borders. So, I mean, it's hard to, I don't know, I don't think you can't grow dirt. You know, you only have so much of it. So, I mean, I see the problem here, but I mean, it's not like we have a ton of available dirt in Lansing. And I mean,
Yeah, cities grow up and out.
and out. It's hard to do right in the center of town. So unless you, I don't know, tear something down. So, and we also have that property on Jefferson Street.
Yeah, it's a sign of a healthy community, cities growing up.
Or out. So,
Good point. Any other discussion? Hearing none, without objection, the committee will adjourn. Committee's adjourned at 9:30.
Is this yours?